I woke up to a court notice saying I owed $2.1 million. The company, my father's. The problem? I had no idea I was even a partner. My name is Sarah, and until I turned 28, I thought I had the perfect relationship with my dad. He was my hero, the entrepreneur who built everything from nothing. Every Sunday we'd have lunch at his house and he'd tell stories about his construction company, Johnson and Daughter LLC. I always thought the daughter part was just symbolic. Sweet, you know. I was working as a graphic designer, had just gotten engaged to Marcus, and we were planning our wedding for the following spring. My dad had promised to help with costs. You're my only daughter, princess. I'll give you the wedding of your dreams. Started 9 years ago. I was 19 in my second year of college. Dad showed up at my dorm with that smile he had when he needed something. Hey sweetie. Quick favor. I need you to sign some papers for the company. It's just bureaucracy, tax stuff. Your signature as a family member speeds up the process. I remember hesitating. Dad, what exactly am I signing? Nothing important, honey. Just formalities. You trust your old man, right? He had the papers in a folder. I saw my name at the top. Sarah Johnson Partner Agreement. But he was already flipping through pages, pointing where I should sign. Dad, shouldn't I read? Sarah, I've got a meeting in 30 minutes. This is holding up a $500,000 contract. You want to help Dad, don't you? The guilt. That's what got me. I signed 7 pages. He kissed my forehead. That's my girl. This stays between us. Mom doesn't need to know about boring business stuff. That phrase should have been my first red flag. This stays between us. Over the next few years there were other signs I ignored. Year 2. Sarah, I need you to sign this bank document. Same deal, just formalities. Year 4. Can you come to the office? They need your signature on a lease renewal. Year 6. One more signature, princess. I'm refinancing some debts. Your name helps with interest rates. Every time I signed. Every time he rushed me. Every time I trusted him. March 15, 2024. I'll never forget that date. I was at work designing a logo for a new client when my phone rang. Unknown number. Miss Sarah Johnson? Yes, speaking. This is Officer Martinez from the Civil Court. I'm outside your residence to serve you legal papers regarding case number 2024 CV8847. You have 72 hours to respond. My hands went cold. I'm sorry, what? What case? Ma'am, you're being sued for $2.1 million in unpaid debts related to Johnson and Daughter LLC. You're listed as a 50% partner and jointly liable for all company obligations. The room started spinning. That's impossible. That's my father's company. I'm not. According to our records, you've been a registered partner since 2015. The company filed for bankruptcy 6 months ago, and creditors are now pursuing personal assets of the partners. That includes you, Miss Johnson. I hung up and immediately called my dad. It went to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. Third time he picked up. Dad, what the hell is going on? The court just called me about $2.1 million in debts. Silence. Then in a voice I'd never heard before, cold, calculated. Sarah, I was going to tell you. Tell me what? That you made me a partner in your company without me knowing. You knew. You signed the papers. My blood turned to ice. You told me it was formalities. Tax documents. Sarah, the company's in trouble. I needed to protect the house. Your mother's house. I put everything in her name. The company assets are separate. So you used me? Your daughter. It was supposed to work out. The contracts fell through, the economy tanked. I didn't think. You didn't think. Dad, I'm getting married in 6 months. I'll figure something out, princess, I promise. Don't call me that. Don't ever call me that again. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my phone. My boss found me in the bathroom crying on the floor. The next 72 hours were a nightmare I can't even describe properly. I tried to access my bank account, frozen. All $43,000 I'd saved for the wedding and house down payment. Gone. Inaccessible. I called the bank. Miss Johnson, your accounts have been legally frozen due to pending litigation. You'll need to resolve the court case to regain access. Marcus found me staring at my laptop that night. Sarah? Baby, what's wrong? I couldn't even say it at first. When I finally told him, I watched his face change. Not anger, worse. Fear. Sarah, $2.1 million? How are we supposed to? Our wedding is in. I know. Can't your dad fix this? He's the one who did this, Marcus. That's when I saw it. That tiny flicker in his eyes. Doubt. Like he was looking at me differently. Like I'd suddenly become a liability. 2 weeks later, we postponed the wedding. Just until this is sorted out, he said. But I knew. I could feel him pulling away. My mother called 3 days after I found out. Sarah, your father told me what happened. Why would you sign those papers? Mom, he lied to me. He said. You're 28 years old, Sarah. You should have read what you were signing. Now you're dragging this family through the mud with lawyers and courts. I'm dragging. He committed fraud. He's your father. Family protects family. She chose him. My own mother chose the man who destroyed my life over me. The creditors started calling. Different companies, different amounts, all adding up to that nightmare number. $2,104,847.92. One guy, a supplier named Frank, actually cried on the phone. Miss Johnson, your father owes me $340,000. I had to lay off 30 employees. 30 families. Some of those guys worked for me for 15 years. Please, you have to. I was sobbing too. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. That's what they all say, ma'am. I stopped going to work. My boss was sympathetic at first, then concerned, then frustrated. Sarah, we need you functioning or we need to bring someone else in. I was fired on May 2nd. 2 months after the court notice. Marcus broke up with me on May 18th. I can't do this, Sarah. I'm sorry. It's too much. My parents are worried that your debts could affect me if we get married. I can't. He left the engagement ring on the kitchen counter. I moved into a studio apartment, the only place I could afford with what little credit I had left. No furniture except an air mattress and a folding chair. I ate ramen and peanut butter sandwiches for weeks. My dad's calls went unanswered. He sent texts. Sarah, please. Let's talk. Princess, I never meant for this. I'm trying to fix it. But I knew the truth. He wasn't trying to fix it. He was in his paid-off house with his assets safely in Mom's name, while I drowned in his debts. The lowest point came in July. I was served with a wage garnishment order, even though I didn't have a job. Then came the notice of asset seizure. They were going to take my car. I sat in that car in a grocery store parking lot at 2 a.m. and screamed. Just screamed until my throat hurt. I had $11 in my bank account. They'd unfrozen it when they realized there was nothing worth taking. I was 28 years old, unemployed, single, and $2.1 million in debt for a company I never actually worked for. That night, I wrote a suicide note. I didn't go through with it, but I wrote it. And that's how close I came to the edge. The next morning, I woke up on my air mattress, notes still on my phone's draft folder. I looked at it and thought, my dad doesn't get to kill me too. I Googled fraud lawyer free consultation and found a small firm in the downtown area. The lawyer's name was Rebecca Chin. Her website said she specialized in corporate fraud and family exploitation cases. I called expecting nothing. Hi, I think my father committed fraud and I need help but I have no money. The receptionist's voice softened. Hold on, honey. Let me get Rebecca. 2 minutes later. This is Rebecca Chin. Tell me everything. I did. All of it. I cried through most of it. When I finished, there was a pause. Sarah, can you come to my office tomorrow? And bring every single document your father ever gave you, contracts, emails, texts, everything. I can't afford. We'll discuss payment after I review your case. I have a feeling you might not owe a dime. Not legally anyway. The next day I sat in her office with a folder of papers I'd kept over the years. I'm not an organized person, but for some reason, I'd kept all those documents my dad gave me. Maybe subconsciously I knew something was wrong. Rebecca put on reading glasses and went through every page. At one point she stopped, looked up at me and smiled. Not a happy smile, a warrior's smile. Sarah, do you know what vicio de consentimento means? No. It's a legal term, defect of consent. In English common law we call it fraudulent inducement. Your father induced you to sign these documents under false pretenses. You thought you were signing tax forms. You were actually signing partnership agreements, personal loan guarantees, and asset pledges. But I signed them. Doesn't that make me responsible? Not if you can prove you didn't understand what you were signing and that the other party deliberately deceived you. Sarah, look at these documents. He spread them out. Every single one is written in complex legal jargon. You were 19 when you signed the first batch, a college student with no business experience. Your father, a 30-year businessman, gave you less than 30 minutes to sign 7 documents. Did he explain each clause? No. He said it was formalities. Did he give you copies to review later? No. Did he suggest you consult a lawyer? God, no. Rebecca leaned back. Sarah, I've seen cases like this. Fathers who exploit daughters. Husbands who exploit wives. Business partners who exploit friends. The law has remedies for this. It's called undue influence and fraudulent misrepresentation. She pulled out another document. Look at this. The partnership agreement says you're a 50% partner with equal decision-making power. Did you ever make a single business decision? Never. I didn't even know I was a partner. Did you receive profit distributions? No. Did you attend partner meetings? There were meetings. Rebecca laughed, a real laugh. Sarah, your father forged a paper trail to shift liability, but he forgot to make it look real. You never acted as a partner because you weren't one. You were a victim of identity fraud. My heart was pounding. So what does this mean? It means we're going to court. And we're going to destroy this case against you. But more than that, we're going after your father for fraud, forgery, and financial elder abuse. Elder abuse? I'm 28. Financial exploitation of family members. Same laws apply. Sarah, when we're done, you won't just be free of this debt. Your father might face criminal charges. For the first time in 4 months, I felt something other than despair. I felt rage. Good, clean, focused rage. Let's destroy him. Rebecca worked fast. Within 2 weeks, she'd filed a motion to dismiss the case against me, along with a countersuit against my father and the company for fraudulent inducement, forgery, and breach of fiduciary duty. The evidence was damning. Exhibit A. All 7 original documents I'd signed at 19. Rebecca hired a forensic document examiner who testified that several signatures appeared to be traced, meaning my father had potentially forged my signature on additional documents I'd never even seen. Exhibit B. Bank records showing I'd never received a single distribution from the company. If I was truly a 50% partner, where was my share of profits from 2015 to 2019, when the company was still profitable? Exhibit C. Email records, subpoenaed from my father's business account, where he referred to me as the liability shield in a conversation with his accountant. Direct quote, Sarah doesn't know anything. She's just a name on paper to protect my assets if things go south. Exhibit D. My college enrollment records, proving I was a full-time student with no business experience when I signed the initial documents. Exhibit E. Text messages from my father, including the one where he admitted, I put everything in your mother's name. The first court hearing was September 12th. I saw my father for the first time in 6 months. He looked smaller somehow. Older. He wouldn't meet my eyes. His lawyer, some expensive guy in a $3,000 suit, tried to argue that I was a sophisticated party who should have known what I was signing. Rebecca destroyed him in 3 sentences. Your Honor, the defendant was 19 years old, a college sophomore studying graphic design, when she was pressured by her 48-year-old businessman father to sign complex partnership agreements without legal counsel, without copies, and without explanation. The plaintiff himself admitted in text messages that he deliberately withheld information from his daughter. This isn't a case of negligence, it's textbook fraud. The judge looked at my father. Mr. Johnson, did you or did you not tell your daughter these documents were tax formalities? My father's lawyer whispered something to him. Dad cleared his throat. I may have simplified the explanation. Simplified? Or lied? Your Honor, I was trying to protect my family. By bankrupting your daughter, Mr. Johnson, I'm granting the motion to dismiss all claims against Miss Sarah Johnson. Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for potential criminal prosecution. I actually gasped. Rebecca squeezed my hand. But we weren't done. Phase 2 was the countersuit. We sued my father for $2.1 million in fraudulent debt transfer, $150,000 in emotional distress damages, $43,000 for my frozen savings, $30,000 for lost wages from my job. Punitive damages to be determined. The trial took 3 days. Rebecca called witness after witness. My college roommate, Sarah, had no idea she was involved in any business. She thought her dad's company was doing great. Marcus, my ex-fiancé, even he showed up. Sarah was completely blindsided. It destroyed our relationship. She's the most honest person I know. She would never knowingly sign up for this. That one hurt. He still loved me, I could tell. But fear had driven him away. The forensic accountant, Mr. Johnson, systematically transferred valuable company assets to entities controlled by his wife, while loading debt obligations onto the partnership structure where his daughter was listed. This is a classic fraudulent conveyance scheme. Frank, the supplier, Mr. Johnson told me his daughter was a full partner handling operations. He used her name to secure credit. She never answered a single business call because she didn't know the business existed. But the most damaging testimony came from my father's own accountant, Gerald. Rebecca had subpoenaed him and he looked terrified on the stand. Mr. Gerald, did Mr. Johnson ever discuss his daughter's role in the company with you? Yes, ma'am. What did he say? Gerald glanced at my father, then looked down. He said Sarah was insurance. That if the company failed, creditors would go after her assets first, and he'd have time to rearrange things. The courtroom went silent. I felt sick. Did you advise him this was illegal? I told him it was ethically questionable. He said she'd never find out. My father stood up suddenly. That's not, I didn't mean. The judge banged his gavel. Mr. Johnson, sit down. Rebecca turned to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it directly. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't poor judgment. This was a calculated scheme to defraud his own daughter, to use her identity as a shield while he protected his own assets. Sarah Johnson lost her job, her fiancé, her savings, and nearly her life because of her father's deliberate fraud. The question isn't whether he's guilty. The evidence is overwhelming. The question is, what message do we send about parents who exploit their children? The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Verdict: in favor of Sarah Johnson on all counts. Total judgment: $2,847,000. The original debt plus damages. My father would have to liquidate everything, including the house he'd put in my mother's name. Rebecca had gotten that transfer invalidated too as part of the fraudulent scheme. When the verdict was read, my father broke down crying. Sarah, please, I'm your father. I stood up, looked at him directly for the first time and said, no. A father protects his daughter. You fed me to the wolves to save yourself. We're done. I walked out of that courtroom with Rebecca. I didn't look back. That was 8 months ago. Today I'm 29 years old and my life looks completely different. The judgment against my father is being paid out over time. I've received $680,000 so far. Enough to pay off the original frozen debts, replace my savings and start a small business. My father's house was sold. He and my mother now live in a rented condo. She still doesn't speak to me. She thinks I destroyed the family. I've made peace with that. My father sent me a letter last month. I haven't opened it. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I won't. Marcus reached out 6 months ago. I made a mistake, Sarah. I should have stayed. I told him I appreciated that, but I'd moved on. Some broken things can't be fixed. I started a consulting business helping other victims of family financial fraud. Rebecca and I partnered on it. She handles the legal side, I handle the support and advocacy side. We've helped 14 people so far get out of similar situations. I also started therapy. Turns out, being betrayed by your parent creates some serious trust issues. Who knew? The most unexpected thing? I'm happy. Actually, genuinely happy. I have a small apartment I love, a business I'm passionate about, and friends who chose to stay when things were hard. I even started dating someone new, Alex, a teacher I met at a coffee shop. I told him everything on our 3rd date, expecting him to run. He said, "That's horrible. Your dad sounds like a coward. Want to get dessert?" We've been together 4 months now. He's meeting my friends next week. But here's what I want you to take away from my nightmare. So here's my question for you. Would you sign a document for a family member without reading it? Would you trust someone's word over your own eyes? Drop a comment below if you've ever been pressured to sign something quickly, whether you did it or refused. Let's talk about it. Your story might save someone else. And if you're in a situation like mine right now, if you just discovered you're drowning in someone else's debt, please know you're not alone. There are legal remedies. There are people who will help. Don't do what I almost did. Fight back. You deserve better. Have you or someone you know been a victim of family financial fraud? Share your story in the comments below, even anonymously. Your experience might help someone else recognize the warning signs. And if this video helped you, please share it. You might save someone's life. I mean that literally.